What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. We're looking at the 5-game main slate here, kicking off at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time. We had a big day baseball slate, some unexpected performances there. A lot of the chalky pitching didn't necessarily come through as expected on that early slate. Our guy Howard Bender, he is all about just like fading day baseball. He's like, guys' routines get thrown off. Pitchers especially, he hates taking pitcher props or even really playing DFS on day baseball because it feels like, these guys, they're creatures of habit. They're used to waking up at a certain time on the day they pitch and doing all these things, and now, it's sped up. And as soon as Jonah Bride is homering off of Taj Bradley, I'm like, oh my, here we go. This day is this one career home run for Jonah Bride, make it 2 off Taj there. So, not a great early slate. If you read my playbook, I apologize to all of you there. We had the good lineup stacks. That's a lot. We had all the O's. Couldn't have more O's in our lineups here today. But pitching obviously did not necessarily break through the way we had hoped for.
Yeah, I actually, I ended up, so I didn't play O's, but I played Royals. I played 5 Royals on the early slate. They also scored 10 runs.
Yeah.
So I had a legendary, the Vinny Paz 9th inning home run there, John, and that with the Brady Singer win points. So that pushed me over the top. So I did, even with Taj Bradley, 60% of the field, me and 60% of my best friends all played Taj Bradley there. But the Orioles bats were great. If you played some Phillies, I played Brandon Lau. That was probably my biggest disappointment of the early slate. He did not do anything.
Well, you had the decision. It was you played Brandon Lau or you spent $3K on Jackson Holiday. And Jackson Holiday's first career home run was a grand slam that he absolutely lasered on.
Left the stadium.
Did you see the pitch? Our guy Rodriguez threw a flat 85 mile an hour
right here on the tee
slider. Sweeper that didn't sweep. And he launched that thing. So, but we're here. We're talking about the 5-game main slate here. We appreciate you all tuning in with us here this evening. If you could go ahead, hit a like, hit a share, hit a follow, hit a subscribe. Free way to support the work we do here over at Fantasy Alarm. As you know, our YouTube page is super active. Go over there. YouTube, I think it's YouTube/Fantasy Alarm, or just search for Fantasy Alarm over on YouTube. Yep. Subscribe over there. We're always putting out video content. So you can find us there as well. Let's get into it. It's a quicker show today with just 5 games on the board. We have some potential weather, but not nearly as ominous as it was looking earlier on in the day with the Cubs and Cincinnati here. Our guy Kevin Roth has it seemingly as the rain's moving through during the pregame. Some isolated storms throughout the evening, but nothing that looks like apparently is going to impact the game here. Now, anything is possible. We're 2 hours out. Something could pop back up and maybe it causes a delay. But weather-wise, that is the only game on the board that we're maybe taking a peek at here. So, again, 5 games, shorter player pools, not a lot of options necessarily when it comes to where the chalk is going to be and where, you're looking to maybe fade and be a little bit different. So we can go from here. Our guy DePrince is in there asking who we like. And I-40 Films talking about Skeens the other day. So, we'll talk about what's going on with that. Pitching, Dylan Cease coming off of his no-no, $9,700. He's been as good as almost any pitcher in baseball now for a month or so. Nick Lodolo is your second price pitcher, 92. Framber at 89. Logan Webb and Clayton Kershaw round out the 8K tier. On this slate, Dylan Cease, your top price guy, but he's going up against the Dodgers. So what wins out? Does Dylan Cease continue to dominate? Does he struggle after throwing a no-hitter? What are your thoughts?
So I think there's obviously, when you look at the slate, I think there's one pitcher immediately that you look at and you're like, I'm plugging that guy into my lineup. It's one of the 3 names you've already talked about. It's not Dylan Cease. But the fact that Dylan Cease has as much, Dylan Cease, I don't think debatably, because he's coming off no hitter, has the highest ceiling on the slate. But that's besides that, right? It's like he is coming off 37, 38, 50. No one on the slate can even touch that. And let alone do it in 3 straight games, let alone do it twice in a row, right?
22 scoreless innings, 2 hits in 3 starts allowed, 30 strikeouts.
The strikeouts, and that's where you look at it, and we've talked about this a couple times lately. Like sometimes you look at, you're like, damn, Dodgers can't play Cease. But then you look at the Dodgers, and it's like you said, what wins out? This month, right? Dodgers, 781 team OPS. That's 8th in baseball against righties. Also, Dodgers, 25.8% strikeout rate against righties. That is a very high strikeout rate. Also, that's the 4th highest in the league. Also, they're top 10 in baseball in offense. So, like, I think current form Cease can basically mow anyone down. But also context, Washington, pre-trade deadline, hasn't been good against right-handed pitching. Cleveland has basically been non-existent offensively. They just, if it's 2-0, the game's over after 6 innings because they're bullpen. And Atlanta, we've documented ad nauseum how bad they are against righties. Obviously, the Dodgers have potent offensive players everywhere. I'm good with Cease. I think he is my number 2 overall. Because Framber Valdez exists in the world today, and Framber Valdez is 8,900 going up against the Pirates. And Framber Valdez is back, John. He's all the way back. So he gets the Pirates. His strikeout over on DraftKings Sportsbook is set at 7.5. It's only 1 behind Cease.
Right.
And there's obviously the better matchup is in Valdez's court here. So I love Cease. And if you can get to Cease Valdez combo, that is a very high ceiling. But if I can only pick one, I lean the Framber Valdez.
Yeah, the 10 strikeouts in 2 of the last 3 is kind of wild for a guy that really was like a middling strikeout pitcher. For the last few, most of this season, really. So getting the bump up there in strikeouts, especially against the Dodgers, no less, they're certainly a trend, that we've seen with him. So that's good to see. Mark wants to know our thoughts. Does Logan Webb get cooked by the best offense in baseball here? They got the Robbie Ray last night. Daz Cameron, Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker. Logan Webb's a ground ball pitcher, but I mean, he's been getting cooked lately by everybody. So, what do we do?
I mean, it's funny. Like you just see Lawrence Butler go lefty, and you're like, all right, this guy can just. And it was a bomb. Yeah, it was a bomb. Like he can just do it all. I mean, I guess this is the spot you get Logan Webb in current worst form possible, but coming off 2 of the starts, in Coors and in the Dodgers, like obviously those are 2 tough spots. I think the lack of strikeouts has been a little alarming for Logan Webb. He's still getting ground balls. The walks have been a little alarming as well. I'm okay with it. It's not my favorite play of the day.
Okay. Do you have a favorite value play on this slate?
I wish I could pinpoint somebody. I want you to make sense of this, okay?
Yep.
So we have Davis Daniel, who you and I talked about after that electric start against Detroit. And then Oakland jumped him. Since then, Oakland hasn't stopped hitting.
Yeah.
Texas jumped him even worse. Then you look at Colorado. Okay, this month, Colorado is 5th in OPS, 823. Okay, shout out to me. That's my birthday, 823. That's their OPS. You filter in road for that. Okay, that OPS now is 654. John, can you take a guess what their strikeout rate is in the month of July against right-handed pitching when they're away from Coors Field?
32%.
37.7%. That is higher than the Red Sox versus lefties, who were worse, right?
Yeah.
Than anybody. I'm not sitting here saying I'm like over the moon about a $7,700 Davis Daniel, but I'm also considering it. I'm considering stacking against him, and I'm also considering using Davis Daniel as my SP2.
I was gonna say, when we looked at him coming off of that start, and we're like, this guy came out of absolutely nowhere. He's not like a young prospect or anything like that. It didn't make sense that he threw that Detroit start, and we were more than happy to stack against him, and it hasn't let us down yet. I'm almost.
I'm good. I'm good if you're going to say you want to stack against him or play the opposite side of this.
I almost feel like I want to play Kyle Freeland and give him another go. He had 8 strikeouts in that loss against the Giants.
Super, super tilting. I messaged you about how tilting that game was because he would have gotten out of that 4th inning with like 3 runs and then a Jorge Soler bloop single followed by a Tyler Fitzgerald bomb when he was on his Jeremy Lin run ended it all. So
because outside of that start in those last 5, he's been really good.
Plus the strikeouts were still incorporated into that last start, right? Yeah.
Now you look at his home run splits; they don't make any sense. Man's got a 10 ERA and away from Coors, and he's got a sub-2 in Coors. But I think I would trust Kyle Freeland maybe a little bit more here.
I agree.
It is ugly for sure.
Well, I agree. I'm perfectly fine with like taking shots wherever, like SP2, wherever that takes you. Outside of like,
did you pitch Kershaw?
I'm okay with it. I mean, 72 pitches, 8,200. San Diego's been really good. Obviously, the strikeouts were really good for San Francisco, but we know San Diego is not that team that strikes out a lot.
Maybe he gets the 80, 85 pitches tonight.
Yeah, obviously the win equity is pretty like often going to be in his favor.
As I say, is he a favorite tonight against Cease?
So Dylan Cease to get a win is plus 145.
San Diego's minus 135 on the money line. So
at home, which isn't surprising. I would say like I'm okay with it. I would probably just take the savings on Freeland for just everything because like we've also talked about how 180 the Angels offense has been against lefties, right?
Yeah.
Like they were the best team in baseball earlier in the year. They're dead last in July in terms of OPS, ISO, WOBA, WRC plus, like dead last, not even close to the field is lapping them. Shout out Katie Ledecky, like version of getting lapped. So I'd rather just take Freeland punt, but yeah.
Trippy wants to know, are we doing over 5 strikeouts for Logan Webb here?
Yeah, that still feels good. Oakland still strikes out a bunch. They haven't stopped really striking out, but they just...
it's kind of on the nose for me because that's around basically what his seasonal average is. Obviously, it's a good line. And if Oakland jumps him, like does he... The last 3 games, he's all gone under. Toronto, Colorado, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It's kind of close. I think that's probably a no bet for me, Trippy, personally. If you like the over, you like the over, but I don't even want to do anything against Oakland right now. So catcher position. Are we going just like Houston here against John Woodford? Like, where are you looking at target things?
Dude, I could not believe how good Woodford's AAA stats look this year, considering what we've seen from him every single time he's ever pitched in the big leagues. Maybe he's just one of those dudes who can only pitch in the minors because they looked really good. He's looked terrible every time he has made a big league appearance. So, I mean, I like Diaz for sure. Hop, if you're not playing Freeland at 4,100, I would be okay with getting to. I'm all in on the Reds tonight against Kyle Hendricks. If you want to play Tyler Stevenson for sub 4K, I think that makes a ton of sense. So those would probably be my primary targets. And then even if you wanted to like not play Yainer Diaz, how about you play Victor Carantini, who's hitting? Dude, Victor Carantini is playing or at least getting at bats like every day, which is crazy because he's their backup catcher, but he's just hitting and he's hitting and he's hitting and he's hitting. So I would probably play any of those guys and maybe punt with Christian Bethancourt, who got called up from the Cubs, went 2 for 4 in his debut. And Nick Lodolo, I was looking this up earlier. Nick Lodolo has been pretty bad at home this year, which is
Yeah.
why we didn't really even mention him, but he's been pretty bad at home. And he's been bad specifically against righties. And the Cubs obviously added Paredes. Paredes hitting second tonight for the Cubbies. And Bethancourt for a punt, $2,100. I don't hate either. In Great American, right? Like that's the smash spot of all smash spots. So I think Christian Bethancourt at 21 is a good punt.
Sure. I said John Woodford is Jake Woodford.
Jake from State Farm.
I don't know why I said John, but I just wanted to correct myself there. It didn't sound right when I said it, so I want to click on his player name and just make sure I had that correct there. First base. Otani's up at the top. Obviously, you have your Reds first baseman there in Steven Candelario. Wisdom, as you mentioned, had that little home run. If Lodolo continues to struggle, he's 38. Like, where are you looking to go here at first?
The Reds, immediately to the Reds. I like Spencer Steer. He's been good against righties and lefties this year. 12 of his home runs have come against righties. Candelario has hit all of his home runs against right-handed pitching. I mean, he has 16 of his 17 home runs have come off righties. So Candelario, for me, 4,600. I know he has been the corpse of Heimer Candelario lately, and that's why he's hitting sixth. But yeah. I like both Reds quite a bit. And then if you're not playing like Daniel, I mean, you do have the Cubs and Wisdom, as you mentioned, down here. They're all pretty intriguing.
Sure. Any other values? Like a Singleton to 2,900 would be kind of interesting here.
Yeah, Singleton against not John Woodford is definitely interesting. Maybe some Cavan if you want to be super contrarian against Dylan Cease. You play some Cavan Biggio, who's been homered in 2 of his last 3 games. But that's it.
Okay. Second base then gives us Altuve, Rengifo, India, Horner, Bogarts against Kershaw as your 4 can above group.
Yeah, I mean, Altuve, a salute to Don, who's always in here. I don't know what that picture is, the image, but it's a sick haircut.
Back of someone's head, it looks like.
I'm thinking about getting that cut. I like that cut. I think that's a haircut, right?
Changes his profile picture, I think, every day. So.
Huh? He does. Don, you do change your profile picture a lot, but you got whatever. He got all this time from all the money he's stacking watching these streams. So
true.
I love Altuve. If you're playing any righty for the Angels, Rengifo has been decent since returning from the injured list. Nico Horner, really bad season for Nico Horner, but righty-lefty matchup, I don't hate. Bogarts has been really, really good since returning from the IL if you want to go against the rusty Kershaw. I like the whole 4K tier with I didn't even mention, I don't know why I skipped over India. It was completely unintentional, but I do like Jonathan India here. Maybe we saw the India like stress of the deadline, leave his body yesterday. Like, pretty good game overall. 1 for 3, 2 runs scored, twice on base, back-to-back days with double-digit scoring, leading off against Kyle Hendricks. Gotta like that.
Okay. Our guy Santiago Espinal is 2,500 if you're just looking for a punt play. Historically speaking, Brandon Drury has hit lefty as well. He's been terrible this season.
Oh, he's been so bad.
The Lux machine at $3,200 keeps on rolling.
Dude, if you want to be different, right? You play Dodgers tonight. It's like Dylan Cease has been obviously amazing, but has allowed 15 home runs this year. Has allowed like 5 or 6 games with multi home runs. So
yeah,
he's not untouchable except last game.
Third base. Machado, Rengifo, dual positional eligibility. You mentioned Paredes already, though. Is that your guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very appealing spot. He is very good at hitting lefties. He's obviously in a horrible slump. Did not look good in his debut with the Cubs. Had some run producing opportunities. But big power, especially against lefties. I love Paredes here, $4,500 in tournaments. I like Machado, $49. I would not shy away from like Giants here tonight
Okay.
against Rush Stripling. He looked pretty awful in his return. 5 earned runs over 5 2/3.
They didn't
Six.
mention my guy Lamonte Wade at first, but I guess he would certainly be in play.
Yeah, Lamonte Wade for sure. I mean, especially when I don't think we have the Giants lineup yet. When we get that lineup, I have to assume Lamonte Wade's going to be hitting somewhere near the top.
Yeah.
So I'm good with getting to like Wade, Chapman. We'll talk about obviously Fitzgerald and some of the outfielders, but yeah, I think Paredes, Chapman, Machado up here at the top.
Sure. Not a lot of value here. Some guys' names that we've mentioned already, but again, small slates, so smaller player pools. Shortstop, Ellie's your top price guy at $6,200. O'Neal Cruz gets the lefty spots, so probably a no-go on him here tonight. Fitzgerald cooling off slightly, $4,500 for him there. Nato has hit lefties well at 41. Tovar, if you're diving in against Daniel, a play there as well.
Cooling off, hasn't homered in 2 days.
I said he's cooling off, yeah.
No, it's just funny. It's just like that's the actual Jeremy Lin run he was on. This is Ellie's world. I think Ellie's between him and Jordan, probably my top 2 spends of the day. This has been like a pretty lengthy stretch where he's been dominant for.
Yeah.
So absolutely no issues getting to Ellie De La Cruz and prioritizing him. Yeah, on O'Neal. Fitzgerald is fine. He should still like lead off or hit. They let him off after the Soler trade, so I think that's in play. I do kind of like the Jeremy Pena hitting 5th thing. If you're including him in your stacks, Nato has been good against lefties specifically this year.
Yeah.
So just career wise, Ha-Seong Kim.
It all depends on your feelings on Kershaw there, right?
Yeah, all depending on your Kershaw stance. And then Dansby has started to swing a better bat, 3,500 against Lodolo. I like the righties against.
Sure. Any interest in Luciano? They called him up, got him in the lineup, hit it right away. One of their better prospects here.
Do they have like 97 infielders that they just funnel through, right? Like they just cycle through. Sure, as a punt.
Okay. He had really good numbers at AAA, but PCL also kind of aided there. Anybody else down here? Not really. Outfield. Otani's obviously there. Brent Rooker, just an absolute animal still. 342, almost a 1,200 OPS, 5 homers over the last 10. Ground ball pitcher in Webb, but you know what? It seemingly hasn't mattered against Oakland these days. You mentioned Jordan being one of your top guys. Obviously, he's in play here as well. Where else are we going?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan is probably number 1 for me. I'm definitely good getting to Rooker. The Bellinger thing is interesting because I like Cubs, and he comes off the IL and immediately makes his impact, homers. But Lodolo just hasn't given up anything to lefties. That's my one problem with Bellinger. I'm good with Brenton Doyle if you're stacking Colorado because he's hitting 3rd. And obviously Daniel's been pretty bad and starts number 2 and 3. Seiya at 48 is a great play hitting 3rd.
Yeah.
Profar hits lefties really well. Sad for Kevin Pillar that he wasn't traded because he's basically said he's going to retire after this year, and he wanted to like make one run at a World Series. And here he is. Maybe he'll get released, but
DFA. The Angels last year, remember they traded for everybody at the deadline and then DFA'd everybody within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, Lucas Giolito. Yeah. Right? Wasn't it like Giolito?
It was a couple of guys I think that they had gotten and they let go. So
he straight up just let these guys go.
We're going all in, and then they lost like 2 straight weeks. They're like, we're going out. We're done. Forget it.
Ian Happ leading off is interesting.
Yeah. Frito cleanup today.
Yeah, coming off back-to-back really big games for him. I think the Reds is kind of where I'm going to reside. Friedel at 4K, Fraley 35, Benson 33. I think all three of those guys are in excellent spots.
Yeah, agreed. Value plays Jake Cave hit ninth, 3K.
Yeah.
Pete Crow Armstrong hit ninth. He's a lefty there. Probably it. That's probably it.
I mean, it's like you can obviously, like, we didn't mention Lawrence Butler. You could play him at 4K. You could play Conforto at 4K. I think both those guys are.
I think my brain just thought you mentioned Butler, so I didn't say it. But like, yeah, Blade and but like all Oakland.
Yeah. I mean, Yastrzemski at 3K is probably going to be in the lineup against Rush. You're playing. You get the lefty righty there. You mentioned some guys down here. Michael Taylor, if you're not playing Framber, has homered in back-to-back games. He's really cheap. So if you're like thinking Framber is going to regress to where he was earlier in the year, because Framber sucked until like his last few starts, then obviously you can play some Michael Taylor as well.
Been putting some guys in the lineup for us here.
Let's see. Framber, Freeland, Bethencourt, Ellie, Jordan. So prioritizing Ellie, Jordan. Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Ellie and Jordan, yeah. I think that was where we wanted to go
there. Yeah, for sure.
Candelario, and then a $4,100.
We just missed
second baseman.
I was just you could play Xander. You just missed India, which kind of sucks, but like if you went
if he did like Wisdom.
Wow, that is smart of you.
That's a full Cubs Cincinnati game stack there with a Jordan one-off. And
Jordan LB.
Jordan Butler one-off there. So any adjustments you'd make to the again 5-game slate, so you might as well game stack, right? Like
no, I wouldn't make any. I was just looking at the Dodgers lineup. Gavin.
Don't worry, Aaron. He's right there. He's in the lineup. Framber Valdez in.
No. Listen. I'm not. Only reason I mentioned Michael Taylor is because Michael Taylor's a decent-ish player against left-handed pitching, or has been in the past, and he's homers in back-to-back games, and he's free. I said it at the top of the show, Aaron. If you missed it, Framber is my number one pitcher of the day.
Yep. Zambolana, Valdez, Freeland, Bettencourt, Wisdom, India, Paredes, De La Cruz, Friedel, Butler, Jordan. We're stacking Chicago, Cincinnati here today. We got one off Butler, one off Jordan Alvarez, Framber, and Freeland up at the top for punt and catcher with Christian Bettencourt. Quicker show here today. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably another short show, just 5 games on the Thursday main slate, so be on the lookout for that. I believe it is Henry Wilson on the playbook, so you can check that out when it gets posted over at Fantasy Alarm. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, again, now is your time to sign up. First month comes for less than $20. FantasyAlarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go gives you access to everything on site that is behind a paywall and access to our premium Discord. Are you guys preparing for your fantasy football drafts? All Pro Access includes the Fantasy Football Draft Guide and Fantasy Football Cheat Sheet that gets updated throughout the month of August to help you guys get ready for your fantasy football drafts. The Fantasy Football Draft Guide's $28. The Cheat Sheet's $24. You can get both of those products and access to everything else for the first month for $20. It's about as best deal you can possibly find here. If you don't like us after the month, you can cancel. That's fine, but you'll get all that stuff still included. But why would you cancel? That leads right into NFL DFS season there. We have a millionaire winner among our lifetime subscribers there. Millionaire Mike took down the FanDuel Millie a couple of years ago with a single bullet using our NFL playbook there. So you definitely want to hang with us for the football season and get in now. Get that first month for less than $20 and dominate your draft. So we'll be back tomorrow, Grande and I. Until then, good luck with your late lineups tonight, and we'll catch you later.